I am the only Wilson, that was John Clover, he's our president. In case you don't know. And, yes, I have to find kudos to Barbara, so it's a big show, it's the biggest one yet. And it's the biggest one I ever held at this library, so it was a big job to get everybody together. Some of you are exhibiting with us for the first time, so I want to especially welcome you and all of you who have already exhibited, we all keep exhibiting. I'm here to introduce Judy. So Judy Metcalfe was the juror for this particular exhibit. And she's also an accomplished watercolorist. So she will be giving a short art talk, and then she's also going to be presenting the awards. So we'll do that first here a little bit, and then we'll go back into the gallery where we can see the art that she's going to be giving the awards to. And she wants to encourage you to ask questions while she's talking. Judy has a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Virginia University. She is a member of, I always say this to everybody, I find her so impressive, she's a member of the American Watercolor Society as a signature member. And she's a member of other prestigious watercolor groups. And she's exhibited up and down the New England coast. So I think, and she lives in Rockland. So she has a beautiful place to paint from. She has she's been part of the Copley Society and Salomon Dundee Club, which is in New York. And if you've ever been there, next time you go to New York, if you haven't been there, try to go there. It's a pretty cool place. They have palettes from, I don't know, from the 1900s of pretty famous artists that you can see, and case are still on there, or sometimes they painted on.
And mugs.
And mugs, that's right, I forgot that part, with their names on. So anyway, she's traveled, and she's graced us with her time and her experience and her expertise. So I'm gonna turn it over to Judy, so please welcome Judy Metcalfe.
Thank you. I'm from Southwest Virginia, so I hope you can understand what I'm saying. And if I'm not talking loud enough, somebody just wave because I tend to talk soft. But anyway, I'm delighted to be here. This was a load of fun. And I'm going to show you some of my work, and then we'll go outside and give you awards and ask questions at any time, and I'll try and answer them the best I can. So it's up there. Okay, that's a starting one. That's a later piece that I did. I had them originally sort of in a chronological order so you could see the progression. I have a degree in art, but I majored in interior design because I wanted to be able to feed myself, and that was the best way to do it. And then I came up here in my late 50s with my husband. I convinced him that it was partially his idea, but it wasn't really. And just immersed myself in painting, finally reaching that point in life when you can paint. So I didn't know what to paint because I've always done, rooms and furniture and stuff like that. So I tried oil, and I tried, just oil and then watercolor. And I love watercolor, and that was just great, what I was most comfortable with. But I didn't know what subjects to paint, so I started out, doing still life. This was one of my first pieces, and this is the first piece that got in American Watercolor. And it was just because it was unusual, I think. It was a still life, but it wasn't flowers or what you would normally see. And lost my train of thought. I wanted to do something that was just all white and to see how I could do it and do the same shapes. And I think that's what makes a still life really stand out, particularly in a competition. And by the time I got to this point, I had joined several art associations, and I routinely went to galleries all around the area to see what other people were painting. And I could see that there were a lot of landscapes, and there were a lot of ocean scenes and boats and fishermen. And I thought, I can't beat what's already out there. And I thought, doing a still life is the best way to be creative and do something that will be a little bit different. And somebody had told me before I first applied that when you apply to one of these places, you have on average maybe 3 seconds, 4 seconds when they glance at it and then it's gone. And if you don't do something that jumps out in the first 2 or 3 seconds, they don't look twice. I think a lot of them will set some aside as a maybe if they have the ability to do that. But the trick is to do something that just jumps out a little bit in the beginning. I had to try to learn how to paint water and boats. That just goes without saying. So that was early on. And flowers. Thing about flowers is it needs light. And if you don't position your flowers in a still life with light either coming at an angle or from behind it, it's just flat. It's just flat. And I like to make them look a little bit dramatic. I like to paint so that there's a lot of contrast, so that the flowers really jump out. And the glass base, that's a good one too. If you can get to paint glass, which is actually really pretty easy to do, I think that makes it more interesting too.
Can we just pause for 1 second? I would love to invite you all so that you don't have to stand the whole time, but we have all these chairs in the front, so if you feel like you wanna take a short walk. I know nobody wants to come in while she's talking, so I just thought, let's take 1 second here. Hi, Ed. All right, we gave him a chance. Okay.
This is another one that is just taking something that you see every day and making a piece of art out of it, and from a different location or a different vantage, and that will make it jump out. I'm talking to you for applying to other, not other organizations, but open environment. What am I trying to say? Open.
Meetings, other meetings.
Yeah,
Open,
yeah.
open calls,
Yeah, where you don't have to be a member and you,
yeah, jury exhibitions.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. This one, I had been painting things up on a table and doing, easier things. And I decided I wanted to do something that told a story. And that it was a load of fun, sort of draping this out in my guns and just letting you sort of imagine what the night before was like. And it sold the first show I put it into. I really sort of wished I hadn't sold it. I loved it so much. And I want to try and do another one. But it's just not there again. It's got a story, or it makes it stand out a little bit more. This one, I wanted to do something that was making the most of the glass. And I don't know that that's really a particularly good image. It's not that dark in person, but it got into a lot of shows and won awards. Again, because it was just something a little bit different. And the lace isn't that hard to do, particularly if you mask it off and then paint the background through the little holes. And that one I had to keep. I just decided it belonged in my house. I don't do many portraits. I think I've done 4. And I don't think anybody that I've done a painting of knows yet that I did a painting of. I did this one from a photograph, and she had her little sister with her. But the child had a really big head. They kind of joked about it when she was little. And I realized that it looked really odd. So it's still in the painting, and the painting's at home, but I put it into Photoshop and just took out the little girl. and they'll never know the difference. This one, I was trying to get into shows, which I did, and they sold. And it was just a matter of making things complicated. And the shadows making something exciting happen, something out of the ordinary. Next one. And flowers. Oh, I got into a gallery. The man of the gallery was from down south of Louisiana, but he was up here. And I was doing all these still life. And he said one time, he said, well, where are your paintings? I said, flowers. Don't you paint flowers? And I said, no, I've never tried it. I didn't think I could do it or whatever. And he said, honey, you're from the South. You've got to paint flowers. I mean, they'll take away you'll never get back in on it if you don't start painting flowers. Take away what am I trying to say?
For the credentials?
Your passport. Get back into the South. So, again, it's putting them together in different ways that don't look expected or traditional. That one sold pretty quickly too. This one, I was at North Shore Art Association, and I was in charge of an open jury thing we. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the man that came to be the jury, but he's known nationwide and he had paints around the world, and I was really impressed with him. And I submitted this piece, and he rejected it. And so, which made it easier for me to talk to the other people in the organization who also didn't get into it. I said, look, I didn't get into it either. And that made a lot of people happy. So then I had to work with this man, and he came up to me at the beginning and he said, now, do you have a piece in the show? And I said, no. I said, and he said, that was a little uncomfortable. And he said, well, which one was it? And I described it. And he said, oh, I remember that. It was a good painting. He said, but I was sick to death of seeing stripes. Everybody apparently that year had been painting a lot of stripe things. And on that basis, it was just out. So, you win some and you lose. This is where I decided to start trying to do something different. I've always been interested or intrigued with what am I trying to say?
Glass?
Abstract. Abstract. And I just couldn't do it. I tried just painting loosely and feeling the emotion and just painting here. And I couldn't stand it because it didn't look like anything and there was no logic to it. And I'm the sort of person that has to have everything, lined up. And doing design work, commercial and residential design, things had to be precise. And the only artwork that I had done when I was working as a designer was things that I had to show to my clients to sell the projects that I was selling. So it had to be absolutely clear to them, and it had to be in the right perspectives. So this was my way of making a compromise. And this is a bowl I had at home, and I laid it on its side and put something dark blue. It's not that purple actually in real life, it's more dark blue. And got the light coming from the window and then just zoomed in one piece of it so that it does look abstract, but it's an abstract realism combination. It's based on logic. And so for that reason, for me, it works. I can paint that. And I was so pleased with it, and I wanted to enter it in a number of different shows. So I put it in the first show. And so I priced it, the highest I've ever priced a painting, put 4,000 on it. And I thought, nobody's thought about that. And somebody bought it first day. And I didn't get to show it anymore after that. And anybody did that kind of money. These are big paintings. I do full sheets, so there's, you know, it's a good size painting. I really was kind of sorry. So this is, I've got 4 of these to show you, and this is what I'm sort of working on now. Not this particular one, but this type of painting. This is a Christmas tree ornament. And it was hanging in the window. I've got a room at the back of the house with windows on all sides. And this was hanging on the window, and it was in the autumn, and it was a Christmas thing, and the colors from the outside was coming through it. And so I thought, I really like that. So I thought, I'm gonna try this. And it takes I don't know, 3 months to paint these usually. Used to be I could do them in a month, but the more complex they get it, the longer it takes. And I don't paint every day, all day long. It's like an hour a day or something like that, or 2. So I painted it, and it had a dark brown background for some reason. I guess because the way I had seen it, I was seeing trees in the background at the start. And I finished it a couple of months, and then I thought, I don't like it. I don't like that dark background. So I thought it's just a piece of paper. So I cut it out, and then I took other pieces of paper and took the same paints that I was using and put them in the background. And I was thinking that it would look like it was coming towards you and that the background was further back. I'm not so sure I've got it. I don't know that that's going to be the right background either, but now I can take it apart again and try something else, which is, I'm thinking now is really kind of a fun thing to do if you can change the background periodically. So it's not actually back on the market. I mean, I put it in one show and it won an award, and I brought it home and I thought, I need to fix this. So I haven't put it in anything else yet. This one, I wanted to show movement. And I started over on the far left, and the first layer is Reynolds wrap, and the second one is a piece of fabric. And so I painted the first 2 from that, and then everything else, and I beg your pardon, but Reynolds wrap's the third one. I don't know what's on the far side. From there on, I just imagined whatever I wanted to, and I wanted to see if I could convey things that had depth to them and things that you could maybe putting your hand underneath it so that it had some reality to it a little bit, so it wasn't completely out of control. And it's another one that it's not this dark in person. And I fell in love with it, and I walked into the kitchen and hung it up, and I couldn't believe it. All of the colors in my kitchen were in this painting. It was like I had done that without realizing what I was doing. And so it's still there. I think I'll just keep it there. And this is another one, a vase on its side. And I just finished this one last year. And this is the last one I have up, and I haven't matted it or framed it or anything. And I've done 3 or 4 more, and they've sold, which, I don't know, just sort of surprised me. I figured I'd have to go back to still life, but maybe I won't. And that's all I've got to show you. I'd like for you to ask questions about anything, about getting into other shows or medium or.
Most of them are verticals, the last few are horizontals. Do you have a preference that you've noticed?
Say that.
Most of yours are vertical works.
Yeah.
Just a few went horizontal.
Yeah, and I was in a gallery, and one of the first galleries I was in, and the woman said, we really would prefer you have horizontal ones, because that way they can hang them above their sofa. And I thought, well, it doesn't work. So I moved on to someone else. I don't know why I like the vertical. I've got another one at home right now that's abstract. And this is something else that I do with every painting pretty much that I've ever done. About a third of the way into painting, I am convinced that I have completely ruined it. It's a waste of my time. It looks terrible. I don't know what I'm doing with it. And it's just really, but you think to yourself, well, I've already put this much time in it and I can't reuse the paper, and you keep going, and almost every time it turns into something that I really like, and it turns into a good painting. I don't know what happens in the beginning. So I've got one on the easel now, and I've looked at it a couple of times and thought, I don't know if this one's gonna make it or not. But, so two things I do is when I'm stuck, I take it and hold it up to a mirror. Yeah, you see immediately what you've done wrong, or something jumps out at you that's wrong, and you can correct it. Because once you've stared at the same painting for a long time, you can't see it anymore. Well, this one I turned, let's see, not this one, but the one I thought it was vertical, so I turned it on its side, and I really liked it. And then I turned it again upside down, and I liked it even better. And it was the fourth side I decided was out. So now I'm finishing it, but every day I rotate it. So I'm painting it from different directions, and so if somebody wants it to be horizontal, it can be horizontal. Question.
Do you, over these months that you're working on the work, do you ever do more at the same time, or do you only focus on one at a time?
I tried doing two at the same time, and it was a disaster. It wasn't a disaster, but it was, I couldn't. Mainly because I'm messy and I had all of my paints tables in these dishes. And then if I'm trying to do something else, getting those same colors, I didn't have enough room, and I couldn't paint twice. Two different directions.
How are you photographing them? How do you photograph them?
I used to, when I started out, it was with a camera, and my husband was a photographer, industrial and advertising photographer, so he did all the photographs. Now I just use my cell phone, and you can crop it and mess with the lighting and whatever.
Find yourself leaning towards your favorite color combination or
Oh.
shading? Is there something that you prefer along those lines?
I don't seem to be able to not do that. The one today at home, I looked at it and I thought, gosh, same colors you used in the last two paintings. It's like, I really need to broaden and try different paintings, the different colors. But for some reason, I keep ending up with a lot of blue in everything.
You lean towards that?
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The exact same problem with my eyes. So I tried going into blues and greens, and then I went further into brighter colors like blue and red. But mostly I've always gone back for these as well as you open.
you did blue and green together?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. There's something in the sky, leaves, trees, things, I guess, so.
I appreciated your statement about being 30% in and thinking it's garbage, because what I do is then when I'm at that point, I start another one, so I'll have like 7 going at the same time.
Don't you find it harder though to come back once you've walked away from it and started something else?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this one becomes the stepchild. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I'll stick it out. I won't let myself, after doing that one time and trying another one, I just.
Maybe then the last one.
That's interesting. I wanted a really heavy paper, a 300 pound. And cold press was too bumpy. I couldn't get the sharp line I wanted, and hot press just rolls off the paper. But I came across, a Fabriano had a soft press. Have you tried that or heard of it? It's in between cold and hot. It has enough texture to hold the paint. And yet it's smooth enough that you can get a really sharp line. And so that's all I've ever used. And I was looking it up the other day, or actually earlier today, and I realized I couldn't find it anywhere. I found one in Amazon, one left. And it's expensive. And it's a 22 by 30. It was $180 for 10 pieces of paper. So you really don't want to mess them up. Or turn them over and paint the other side, at least. But I could just find one, and I thought, because I think France does it. So.
Did you say the name of that again?
It's Fabriano,
Soft press.
soft press, yeah.
You've done great, thank you so much.
Thank you.